Things are changing pretty fast, and I don't know if you've been able to keep up with all the changes that are happening in the space with AI and all that. But I've been getting a lot of questions about what is going on and what should I be aware of in my coaching and consulting business. I felt like I checked out for 2 months and I came back, and all of a sudden there's a gazillion different things, and I need 25 new ways to work, or else I'm going to go out of business. Now, hyperbolic intro aside, over the last month or so, there's been a lot of developments and new tools being released and upgrade to existing tools that have really knocked on the capabilities that you have access to in your own business if you can kind of master these. And earlier this week in my group call, or in my group program, my clients are asking what are the differences between these tools. And those tools are Claude Code, which is a coding agent very similar to ChatGPT's Codex, which I also use personally, and I've used to build my writing app, the channel. Then there is Claude Cowork, which is a version of Claude itself that sits on your computer and can do tasks for you on your computer, managing files, making changes, finding docs, all that sort of jazz. And then most recently, there's been a new, very confusing but incredibly powerful tool called OpenClaw. Now, it was called ClaudeBot when it initially came out and went viral. Then Claude, Anthropic, the company that owns Claude, decided, hey, that's a little too close to our name, and sued the guy, or at least sent him a letter. I don't know the legal proceedings, but said, you need to change your name. And then it changed from ClaudeBot to MoldBot for a few days, about a week or so. And then it changed finally to OpenClaw, and that's the name it's going by right now. Now, there's a lot of similarities between these tools. They're all roughly kind of operating the same way, but there's some very distinct differences between them all as well. And what I want to show you and walk you through is the OpenClaw version, because there's been a bit of an innovation with this, and it is an AI agent that's finally able to do stuff for you unassisted, right? And it got crazy capabilities where it's able to like create stuff that runs on your computer, and then is capable of doing all sorts of additional work that I have found the other two are not capable of. And so I want to walk you through how I've got that set up, because I really think that the OpenClaw thing is the future. Now, I don't necessarily know if OpenClaw itself will be the thing that everyone uses in the future, but it's certainly the shape of the thing, right? Meaning it may not be the iPod, but it's certainly an MP3 player. So let's dive in, shall we? Now, Larry lives on my computer, which is different to like Claude Cowork, where you're talking to Claude Cowork and it's existing in the cloud. Larry sits on my desktop here, and he's got access to all my local files, which Claude Cowork also has, but he's also able to write a bunch of scripts and run stuff on my hardware, number one. And he's also able to integrate and run all sorts of API calls, which is super interesting for what I'm going to show you, right? Mainly, one of the things I really want you to start see is I have Larry set up in my software here, which is project management software called Singularity. That's where I keep track of my own personal to-dos. I love it because it's kind of like Things for Mac OS and iOS, only it works on both Windows and on Mac. Here, this is a simple project management software, right? So in here, we got a bunch of, you got an inbox, and you got what I'm supposed to do today, and you get the idea, right? Now in here, I've got Larry to set up his own projects. And so this is Larry's projects, and these are a bunch of projects that Larry created himself. I got Larry to set up a protocol where he can communicate with the Singularity API, and Larry set up all these projects himself. And now I've instructed him, and I've given him instructions on how I want projects defined, and now he can manipulate my various to-dos. I can come in here and I can say, like, here's a bunch of stuff in my inbox, which are things I've added into myself here today. And I can just say, hey, Larry, can you add a to-do to my inbox in Singularity? Make it a fun title and description. You can see here, Larry's done. He said, check your inbox. And if we go over here, you can see up the top here, he added this one, confirm strategy circle for a project I'm on. Ross was here. And then he's added this fun thing. So he's just added this to my to-do list via the thing that he created himself. Just to be super clear, I have not coded anything. I got Larry set up on my computer, And I said, I want you to be able to talk to my Singularity to-do inbox because I want you to be able to see my to-dos and I want you to be able to create your to-dos. And that's what he did. Now, over here on the left, you've got Larry's projects, right? These are a bunch of projects that Larry created himself through conversation with me. So everything that you see in here, all of these to-dos, all of these sub-projects, all of these were created by Larry. I have not logged in and edited nearly any of these. There might be like, let's say there's 100 to-dos in here. There may be 4 or 5 where I was just like, oh, let me just quickly add in an extra item on that list there rather than typing it in to the Discord chat to get Larry to do it. He has created and maintained and is monitoring all these to-dos himself, right? We've gotten Larry to set up his own voice, and now I can talk to Larry over Twilio, which is a phone call. So I could call Larry right here on my phone right now and he would answer. I'm not going to demonstrate that on this video because I want to keep him more focused. We could be here all day. I've got him transcribing all of our Zoom calls that are sitting in like our archive of Zoom calls, all of our group Zoom calls, all of our client coaching calls. They're all sitting there, and we kind of have transcripts in Otter and over here, but we have an army of untranscribed Zoom calls that haven't made it to Otter. And I'm just like, can you just transcribe all those and then we can label them by client so that I can then like ask you questions around like what's been happening with this client across time? That's going to be possible, and he's working through it, and he's figured out all the tech to do the transcription just from the audio recordings, and he's running all the transcription algorithms on my computer, right? So I'm not even using Otter to do that. How is that happening? I don't know, but Larry's figured out what free open source algorithms to use for the transcription, and he's done some tests, and the transcriptions are basically as good enough quality. It doesn't have the same cool, sexy interface as Otter and Fathom, so I won't be canceling that anytime soon, but it saved me tons of time figuring out where all the Zoom calls are and then having to upload them to Otter and having to wait and manage all that stuff. It's done. And now Larry has access to all of those transcriptions, and he has a search algorithm where I can just say, tell me about Kathy's blah, 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 blah. And he can search all of the files to find any reference to those clients and give me queries, databases on it, which is just mind blowing, right? Some of the other stuff I've gotten him to do, I've gotten him to go through here and go through my entire email inbox and pull every single email I personally have written myself. Right? Like I wanted him to get every single documented instance of an email I've sent. There was like 5,000 of them because what I want him to do is I want him to create a tool where he can draft emails as me. Not that I necessarily want to misrepresent and say, hey, just like answer my emails for me. But what I have found is that oftentimes I have tasks that are reliant on me searching in my inbox for a whole bunch of things. For example, this is a beautiful keyboard that I purchased last August, and it's one of my favorite keyboards. I use it all the time, but the F key is a little sticky, and I've been meaning to replace it for a long time because I've been struggling through it. But to send that email, I would have to like go in and find the company's website and then go and find their technical support email. And then I would have to like figure out what am I writing, and they're going to ask me the order number and all this stuff. It's just going to be work, and that's a lot of friction. So I haven't done it, and I've been silently suffering here for like 3 months as it's just gotten progressively worse. And I just said to Larry, hey, now that you can write emails as me, can you go in and just like figure out how to draft that email, telling them that my F key is sticky and the battery isn't charging as well? And what did Larry do? He has access to my emails. He went in, he found the receipt, he found the order number, he found the technical support email on the website, and then he drafted the email in my voice. Here's the email. Hi there, I got my keyboard. Order number blank, blank, blank that I purchased back in August. Love it. It's become my daily driver. 2 issues though. F key is completely unreliable. Battery is rough. Happy to provide any of the details. Let me know what the options are. And he drafted that email. He didn't send it. I asked him to draft it, and he drafted it and put it in my Gmail inbox. And I went in and I gave it a little quick modification here or there, but pretty pretty awesome. The fact that I didn't have to do all of the work in order to write that email. I just talked to Larry and then he wrote it as me, and it sounds pretty much like me. Again, I'm never going to have Larry like misrepresent that it's actually me and have him send emails without me reviewing and editing them and whatnot. And I would never use it for personal relationships, but for functional items like this, it's incredible, where it's just like, do I really care if I'm, sending a short functional email to a customer support team? No, that job is done and it's off to the races and it looks and sounds like me. Another example of the sort of thing that can be done with Larry. And most of the thing that blew my mind here is ads, right? So Larry's now setting up Google Ads for me. As an example, here's a project I was working on. I have a product called How to Write Like a Motherfucker, and it's a product that I created myself and I absolutely love, and I titled it in a way that I absolutely energized me. And then it turns out that after the fact, I didn't realize someone else wrote this article a while back called How to Write Like a Motherfucker, and there were some people on my list who were like, oh, you stole that name from so-and-so, and I had no idea who so-and-so was. I actually took the term How to Write Like a Motherfucker from my writing colleagues, where it's a kind of term in usage, like, yeah, man, you must have been writing like a motherfucker if you shipped like 4 sales pages in 3 weeks or whatever. That was the inspiration from it. But it's apparently a search term that people are regularly searching for. And I was online where my product has been spoken about in the social media environment, and I saw the same discussion where someone said, hey, I actually searched for How to Write Like a Motherfucker, and it turns out someone else used that term. And then I realized, hey, there's probably people searching for How to Write Like a Motherfucker. I've been meaning to do Google Ads for How to Write Like a Mofo for a while now, but I haven't done it. So I asked Larry, hey, can we do that? Can we set up a project to do that? And that's what he's been kind of working on a little bit here and there. So here you can see the project plan that we just worked on today. And here's the details. But the success criteria is we get the ads live. We got a 7-day report. So he checks in a week from now to pull all the data. A 14-day, and then we've got recommendations on what to do. And so I've just been working with him. And I said, great, this is fantastic. You did the strategy circle, right? So which is like how we figure out what the obstacles are for the project and then how we're going to ship that project. And I was just going to say to Larry, he's like, great, can you update the project with all of the to-dos? And then let's get started shipping it. And so I'm going to hit enter here. And then what we'll do is we'll just make sure that you can see this in the background. So hopefully this works without a net. So Larry's going to work on it here, and then we'll just watch the project plan. Hopefully what we should see is all of the to-dos coming in here for what he's been working on. You can see here, execute a strategy circle to determine tasks and items to complete. That's the item that we had in the project plan. And then I just did that with him in a chat earlier. I don't need to show you all the details. We just discussed what are the obstacles for the project and whatnot. And then he said, yeah, here's what I think they are. And so here he's still working, keeping an eye on him. Here you can see some of the action items coming in. He's got to duplicate a creative playbook for a specific item. He's got a critical components guide for the copy elements that we got to load into the ad. He got to figure out where the sales page for the product is. He's got to set up the conversion tracking, build a list of keywords, etc. You can see the to-dos are flowing in here still. Probably a little refresh happening in the background. But Larry has essentially created this project for himself, and now he's going to start working on it. There we go. So let's see. So 8 tasks created, strategy circle marked complete. So if you go back here, you can see he has marked off the item, execute a strategy circle to determine the tasks and items to complete. He marked that as done. He also duplicated the creative playbook and the components here, and he's after bringing these into the project. I asked him to move into the project resources that we'll need to decide what kind of copywriting do we want to do for the Google ads, right? He's also made a list of all the other items, and if we ask him what he thinks is next, starting now duplicating the guides, he's duplicated them. And next blogger, I need the How to Write Like a Motherfucker sales page URL. So I'm going to go get that for him now. Here it is. I see my page is a little wonky here because of the way I was moving my screen around to make Discord fit. And I'll just say there's the URL, Larry. And I'm going to ask him to basically go and extract the messaging from the page, right? I'm not going to write the ads myself at all because I've written all the copy and all the messaging is on the page. I'm just asking him, hey, just find all of the relevant messaging on the page and extract that and use it as the copy, right? Like I don't need him to go write fresh ads. There's so much copy on that page, just test bits and pieces of it. Something on there is going to pop off and be the part that's the most relevant and appealing, right? And so Larry's now processing that and he's working away. What I'm hoping he'll do is that he's going to update the project here. So if we go back to the project, he's already got it. He's already confirmed here that the sales page, what it is, and it's ready to rock. There's also a copy of it. I'm not sure if he had that was there beforehand or if he just added that. But we've got the sales page anchored here to the top of the project. And now Larry's going to start working on the ads. Here you can see he's built a list of keywords with match types, which I discussed with him earlier, that I knew the keywords I wanted to target were just going to be like how to write like a motherfucker, write like a mofo, like any variations of those that are going to be like slightly the same, what we'd call modified or phrase match terms on the Google Ads game, so that he can do it. And you can see here he's flying through it. He's already marked off here writing the RSA ad copy. So that's pretty sweet. Let's check in with him. So page verified, it loads correctly. Page details, perfect keyword match. Frequency, yada, yada, yada. Page shows $600. So he's asking about the price difference here because I said it was going to be $100. And he's gone right in the thing. And now he said he's finished the project. So he's written the copy. So blockers before the API submission. Page shows 600. Is there a Thrive card? So I'll just say, don't worry about that. Let's just get the ads set up without turning them on. I'll change the price on the page before we go live. Conversion tracking. How does Thrivecart fire the thing? So, and I'll say for conversion tracking, same thing. I'll get it set up after we have a draft campaign created. So he's basically saying where we're blocked right now is getting the conversion tracking set up, and also the price. He's noticed you said it was going to be $100, but I looked at the sales page and it says $600 on the product page. And I was like, yeah, that's actually right. We're going to run a test with the ads to see, hey, if I offer it for a few weeks at a big discount, will anyone buy it from Google Ads? But it is normally $600. And Larry noticed that. And he said, hey, I can't publish. Like, that's going to be inconsistent with what you said. So I caught that stuff. Good man, Larry. And now he's getting ready to create the app. So here he is tipping away. And here we go. So Larry just finished. He went in here. What did he just do? So perfect. Created the campaign. He says, you're going to handle the price and the tracking. Current wrapper needs a blah, 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 blah. So he's working away in the background. Found it. Huge progress. And it looks like he's reporting on some compliance stuff here. He's telling me the motherfucker word might not pass through Google's thing. I figured that to be the case. I'm not going to publish this campaign live. I've got some ideas of how to get around that, but I pretty much knew. I'm going to have a little trickiness, maybe advertising on that keyword. And maybe not advertising on the keyword, but I might not be allowed to use that word in the ad, but that's a copy challenge we'll be able to get around. But it looks like he's created the campaign. $50 a day, ad group, 8 keywords, 12 negative keywords, and he's created a bunch of stuff. So let's just see what he did. So here's Google Ads. There we go. There's the campaign. How to write like a motherfucker. And if you come in here, if we can zoom out a little bit, this is a little awkward. On the left here, you can see ad groups. We got an ad group with all the keywords in it. If we go in here, you can see, there we go. He's stuck a whole bunch of keywords in here. He's built it out with a bunch of keywords in here that I need to figure out how to get around the mofo key term here. Ads, if we look at the ads, here you go. How to write authentically. Find your writing voice. Stop sounding like GPT. I mean, that's pretty good. And if we look inside here, you can see what has he done. So he's made some stylistic choices here on the terms he's going to put in. He's got 10 headlines. Write authentically. Find your voice. Not bad. Not bad. I mean, not bad considering that he had to write around the mofo issue. And look, he's put in a bunch of items in here. And all this is pretty much on message, but look at that. That was done and created and ready, I would say, to ship. I would probably turn that puppy on after a couple of modifications and just double checking the things, but not too shabby. Good man, Larry. So hopefully that just kind of gives you a bit of an overview and insight into what's going on with these tools and how you can use them. Like, that's just a fraction of the stuff I've been able to get Larry to do, but it's one of the coolest. So if you're interested and you want to see how you can start setting up your own Larry, or how to start using some of the associated tools like Claude Code or Claude Cowork to start having it do some of this work for you in your business, or how just even think about what are the sorts of things that you could do. Like, I've shown you some of the use cases I've got for myself. If you want some help in figuring out what the use cases would be for you, or if you want to just get sorted and get set up, go below the video. There's a link there to get an AI solution creator game plan session, which is a session with me where we'll just get on a call. We'll look at your business, whether you've got a coaching business, a consulting business, a service business, some sort of expertise business, and we'll take a look at, like, where are your biggest opportunities? What are the things that you could integrate AI into, or how can we get your Larry bot, your Claude Code, your OpenClaw setup and working in your business so you can have someone that's able to do stuff like this for you. Okay, go below the video. There'll be a link straight there for that. You can click the doc, check it out, and shoot me a message. The details will be in the doc about how to reach me, and we can arrange a time for you to get set up. So hopefully this was useful for you, gives you a little bit of a reframe about how to start thinking about these problems and how you might start thinking about using these tools to solve some of the problems in your business. So stick around, check out the next video. Ciao for now.